This morning I was out in the shop and I had a nice square piece that I put in the vise, and I wanted to take a few thousandths off the top of it. And I was doing this with an end mill. And as I wound across, I noticed that I was taking a lot more material off one end than the other. And so right away I suspected that the tilt on the head had moved. So I got out the necessary equipment and checked that out, and sure enough, over 6 inches, I had a 35 thou difference. So it really moved a lot. So I think I've very close to corrected that now. This is a little bit hard to do. If you loosen everything off so that this moves, you're in danger of it taking off and flipping right around this way or that way unless you hang on to it. And if you're doing that with one hand and trying to make adjustments with the other, it gets difficult. So in order to avoid this, I decided to come up with some kind of a safety restraint that I could use up here, so I wouldn't have to worry about it taking off and flipping one way or the other. Now I'll show you what I had in mind here. So this line over here is where the dovetail meets the back of the column. So that's not the one we're turning on. This is the one we're turning on right here. So this part goes backwards or forwards, and it's screwed to the dovetail slide. So all I need to do is drill and tap a small hole here. I'm thinking 1024 screw ought to do it. And then take a small piece of metal like this and put the screw through the metal into the hole so that I can have something like this, and this is going to turn backward and forward, right? And we're going to machine with an end mill, take some off of this so that it will allow that head to move back and forward, but not very far. So I put a little mark here, and it's about 1 inch from the top here and about 300 thou in from the little crack here. And we're going to drill and tap that for a 1024 screw. I marked a line here. That's approximately where the split line is, where things are going to turn. So what I'm going to do is this surface on this side of the line, I am going to take some off of that. Not quite sure how much. I'll let you know after I'm done. But it won't need to be that much. I mean, a little bit of misalignment there translates to a lot of misalignment over a good number of inches. So we'll take some off and see what it looks like. I decided to take about 50 thousandths off there. I can always take more if I feel I need it, but I think that's plenty close enough to just do the final tweaking on that without worrying about whether the head is going to tip one way or another. Well, the one for this side of the machine is all done. I did take a little bit off this edge here because it was hanging over a little bit, which really wouldn't matter for our setup, but this way I can clamp it in the position it's in right now. And if I want to tilt my head to 45 degrees, I can do that without taking these things off. If I want to use them, I'll just turn them up, lock the screw up, and it's going to give me 50 thou movement either way so that I can fine-tune things in. I think I'll go out and see if I can't find some paint for these that matches the machine paint or something close, and you won't even know that they didn't come with the machine. While I was making the block for the other side of the machine, it occurred to me that I should put a 1032 screw here. The finer thread there would give me better adjustment, and I could move it from side to side using the screws, provided I had it loose enough. So right now I'm just going to check and see what I have. I got it within 2 thou over 6 inches before, and we'll check and see what I've got now. So we'll zero this side out, right like that. and then we'll spin it around and see what we've got. Looks like just over 2 thou, maybe 2.5 thou. So perhaps I can get it closer now that I have those adjustment screws. All I've done so far is loosen the screws, including the center screw, and we have moved a 1/2 thou on account of that. So now we're going to try to move it over a little bit and see if we can get closer. Okay, I moved it over 1 thou, half of our air, and before I go tightening things up, I'll try to check and see what it looks like swinging from one side to the other. So I can put this on 0 right now, and we'll swing it around and see what it looks like. So we reduce the air to 1 thou. But who knows what's going to happen when I tighten it up. I better check that first. Okay, the bolts are tight now. I tightened the center one first, and then I went around the other 3 as if I were doing a torquing pattern. I went around twice and left it where I thought it would be as far as tightness goes, which wasn't very scientific, but we're going to see what happened. We've set it on 0 on this side. We're going to turn it around and see what we got now. Looks like 5/10, maybe even 4/10. Anyway, I'm going to be happy with that. That's pretty good. And it was really easy to adjust with those screws instead of banging on it with a little hammer. Well, I would like to caution you on using these stops as a positive stop. Say you've turned the head to 45 degrees and you're now putting it back up and you're swinging it by hand, and if you hit these stops too hard, well, this head is quite heavy and that impact just might snap the screw that's holding it on this end. So I would get it in range up top somewhere near the 0 before you start using these at all.